hopping on here live to give you a little bit of my Just Rest Burnout Tips for Everyday Radicals podcast crowdfunding update. So I'll give you a little brief background and tell you what I've been up to since the crowdfunding effort, the first one, ended September 11th. So what happened with that is that it was being done on, I used Kickstarter for that particular effort. I had 40 people give to that effort, which was phenomenal. By the way, I'd never done a Kickstarter or crowdfunding before, so that was great. What I didn't do was quite hit my big goal of $12,000. So I didn't quite hit that. So what happens in Kickstarter, Kickstarter is an all or nothing platform, which means I can't access any of the funds that people gave originally. That's the really frustrating thing about Kickstarter. So what I did is relaunched as soon as I could kind of figure out the tech. So I'm just using my kind of normal Square system that I use for invoicing clients and things like that. In a separate link, they have a way of making a donation page, actually, which I kind of knew, but I'd never used it before. So I've been kind of trickling. So I've been doing a few posts this past week that I'm relaunching it, hoping to raise a slightly lower amount. So I'm going to 5,200, and that's about exactly the amount I need, including the amount I'd have to pay in credit card processing fees. In order to pay Alicia Galati of Galati Media to help me do this launch of the podcast in a really big and bad way. And I'm still hoping to begin work with her by October 1st. I did just confirm with her last week that timing still works. So if I can get the money in the next in the next few days, I'm hoping, I would love it personally if I were done by the end of today. So September 21st, or I'm sorry, 22nd, it's about 9:26, at least me, I'm in Central Daylight Time in the US. And so I'm really hoping to get that. So here's where we're at. I just sent a ton of emails and text messages this morning to people who originally gave, the ones who I hadn't quite caught up with. And I'm super grateful for the people who have given this morning. We're now up to having raised $2,087. I don't do great math on the top of my head, but that if our goal is 5,200, I don't know, we're between 30 and 40% to our goal, which is no laughing matter. And a number of people not only have given again, they had already gave, and I've noticed they're increasing their donation the second time. And not that you have to if you did that, by the way, if, I understand people's money is tight and that sort of thing. But I am overwhelmed with gratitude by this process, and overwhelmed at how, I shouldn't be surprised by this, but overwhelmed by how supportive people are. And so that's been the best part of this, because I definitely, when I started sending those emails this morning, kind of early, because I'm like, I have to get this done because I have a big, busy day ahead. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get this done? And how are we ever going to meet this goal? And then as soon as I started sending I was, of course, embroiled in sending the emails. And then I looked in my inbox, and every time someone gives to that, I get an email notification. And there were 5 or 6 email notifications from the people I had just sent to. So how cool is that? I know. And of course, some people may not have seen the email yet, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing about the podcast. And let me just give you the thumbnail sketch of what I'm dreaming of for the podcast. It's similar in theme to my written Substack here. It is a podcast about featuring conversations with world changers, people like you who are trying to do their good work, to make change in the world, and trying to get enough rest in the process. Because what I think I said pretty eloquently on the version of this that none of you saw because I had forgotten to hit go live button. Hot tip for those of you who are Substackers. Hit the go live button. Anyway, it's a Monday morning. Anyway, I'm Mondaying here. And what I'm hoping to create is not just a podcast, but a community of people who are getting enough rest and build so that they can resist. They can do their good in the world. because we need everybody well rested. Here's the other thing that I got. This idea I mostly got from Trisha Hersey, the author of two books, but the one this comes from is Rest is Resistance, a manifesto. And one of the things she repeats in there a lot is that we cannot be creative until we have imagined we can't get creative and imagine a new world when we're exhausted. I don't know about you, but I can't even creatively imagine like my way out of like a simple problem in my life when I'm really exhausted, right? We do really we just don't make good choices when we're really tired. And we certainly can't imagine like new things that never have existed before. Because what we're going to have to imagine when this is over, and you know what? Nothing lasts forever, friends. That's just your little bit of hope. Nothing lasts forever. This time of oppression bearing down, this time of fascism rising won't last, particularly if we are well rested and pushing back. It won't last forever. People are getting pissed about it now, finally waking up. And I think the pushback is going to continue to happen. And I want to help sustain that in the context of community, building community around rest practices, building community around resistance, and having conversations with people who will inspire all of that. So if you have $1, $5, $10 or more, if you have it, to give toward the 5,200 that I'm trying to raise today, to finish raising today. Again, we're 30 to 40% there. Like I said, we're at 2,087 as of this very moment. This time, this new version of the crowdfunding is really easy for me on the back end because it's in my existing system. So I want to thank Carl and Margaret for hopping in here today. If you have a chance, even if you aren't able to give cash money, that's totally understandable. I get it. If you're not able to do that, could you share this on Substack? Could you say, hey, I'm inspired by what Nicole's trying to do. Would you help further the message of this? So I will be reposting this video as soon as possible. Thank you so much for hopping on here today, Margaret and Carl, and I hope others share and see this a little bit later. I appreciate you, and I'm hoping to be done with this crowdfunding stuff by the end of today, September 22nd. Bye-bye.